I was pretty annoyed the fact that I just spent $16,000 building an engine and it lasted 15 minutes on a racetrack. Hey, my name's Luke Jones. This is my R34 Skyline. Well, what's together of it? And what do? I make videos. I'm a content creator. I own a small video / film production business. I do a lot of things. And I also spend a lot of money on cars. Why this car? That is a fantastic question. Originally, I actually wanted to buy a twin turbo 300ZX because when I was on my Ps, I owned a naturally aspirated 300ZX, which was an absolute blast. I thought it was really quick. It wasn't. There's a bit of a story behind this actually. At the time that I bought it, I had $60,000 cash in the bank account, and I was looking at this, which I bought for $13,900 with around 120,000 Ks on it. And I was looking at a V-spec Bayside Blue R34 GTR for $60,000. And I thought to myself, you know what? I'm gonna be responsible and I'm gonna spend less money and buy the cheaper option, which was this. And with the money left over, I would put that towards a house deposit and buy a house. I can confirm, I do not own a GTR. I do not own a house. And my car is functioning, kind of. Yeah, so that is why I chose the R34 Skyline. It's an iconic JDM car. Everyone knows what a Skyline is. Everyone knows the R34 it is. It's one of the most iconic cars in the entire world. But as we all know, all 90s Japanese cars from factory are slow. You have to spend like 20 grand to make them quick. How long have I owned the car and what are some of the memorable moments in it? I've owned it for 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, around 8 years, coming up 8 years actually. June. Basically 8 years. That's how long I've owned it for. And most memorable moment, honestly, probably the day I got it. I think I took an Uber out to this Coles car park I bought it in Adelaide, and my mate Quinn was with me at the time. I didn't like pay for an inspection because I knew I was going to do stuff to it anyway. I did, you know, basic checks from knowledge that I had. And I remember driving it the first time, hearing the turbo spools, the first turbo car that I've owned, and I thought it was quick. I remember flooring it, next year, second, third, I was having a blast. But little did I realize that when I actually started doing stuff to it, learned to tune it, the car made bugger all power. But you know, let's just say the turbo sound was a placebo effect to make it seem quick. It was cool, just driving a turbo car for the first time. Yeah, it was almost like a dream come true in the sense that, you know, back then obviously I'd watched lots of YouTube videos of people driving turbo cars, seeing people build turbo cars, but to actually have your own that you can drive. It's pretty cool. What modifications and upgrades have I already made to the car? Well, I've done very minimal and basic brake and suspension upgrades, but most of the money has been spent in the engine, and the amount of money I've spent, I actually went through some of the old invoices the other day, and that was quite depressing, because the amount of money I've spent versus what I've got, yeah, if I spend that same amount of money, I could have got in a good workshop, I could have got something a fuckload better. I guess that comes down to, guys, just make sure you pick a good workshop. I've been screwed around by a lot of workshops. It's a built RB2530, so it's got this RB25 Neo head, it's got an RB30 block bottom end, which I bought off the engine builder for like $100. It's got all your bolt-ons, it's got cams. When I first started, I just started with an unopened engine and then just bolt-ons, so like hot side, cold side, intercooler, oil cooler, radiator, injectors, E85. I actually made pretty decent power. It currently makes 574 kilowatts on 27 pounder boost. I'm hoping to push that to 600 kilowatts. But I've also had it converted to all-wheel drive. It's dry sumped, it's nitrous, aftermarket ECU. Everything's basically electric that can be. So like water pump, power steering pump. The only thing that's belt driven is obviously the alternator and the dry sump. And I went through all this when I broke my built engine about 10-15 minutes after being on the racetrack down at the Bend Motorsport Park. I wasn't a happy chappy.
Right now, I hate you. I mean, I can't say we'll be filming too much because this car is fucking too much fucked.
You reckon China is just Japan in disguise?
Nah.
I wasn't a happy chappy. I was pretty annoyed the fact that I just spent $16,000 building an engine and it lasted 15 minutes on a racetrack, when they knew it was supposed to be built for a racetrack. It turned out that when they built the engine, they didn't do the right ring gaps. So the ring gaps were too big. All the blow-by went down to the sump, pushed the oil up the catch can lines, into the catch can, then out the catch can breather, over the front brakes, so that was fun going down straight, down the side of the car, and then Bon Voyages all over the car on the track. I got kicked off the racetrack and I broke my engine, so that was hectic. Honestly, if the engine was to break again, number one, I'd be very upset. And I'd build it myself. Number one, it's cheaper and I want to learn something new. So, why World Time Attack? To be honest, in the scheme of racing events, I actually, so far, from my experience, I actually prefer door-to-door racing. I find that more fun and challenging, especially even when you go to a normal track day with your mates and you know, you're like overtaking each other here and there and you kind of pushing each other. But World Time Attack, I actually went to my first event as a spectator last year in 2023, and it was mental. Absolutely mental. Like seeing the caliber of cars and they just stick to the track. Like that was mind blowing. I see the event and this whole process from a personal development perspective. So like, you know, World Time Attack, let's take the competitors out of it. You just want to beat your time and you want to get better. But to do better, you yourself have to be better, whether it's as a driver, whether it's as your skills to build a car. There's a saying, the car makes it possible, but the driver makes it happen. Like you can have the hectic, most awesome car, but if you're a shithouse driver, it doesn't matter. Like, you know, I can build this car to be phenomenal and fantastic, but if my skill level, my driving ability is not up to it, the car doesn't really mean anything. You know, like it doesn't contribute that much. I think as a building, like a person who I am now, what kind of person am I going to be? Who am I going to be by the end of this journey? Like if the journey ever ends, like, you know, by World Time Attack when the car's done. So I think that's really important, is not to lose like who you are as a person and make sure that as you change, because you will change, you'll be a different person in 5 years. It's who will you be in 5 years? And if you're not gonna like the person that you're gonna be, well, you might want to do something about it. And I've committed to it. Like, I'm committed. Like I'm committing to this. I have to do it. I want to do it. I really like the challenge. Like looking at this car, I said, yeah, I'm building this World Time Attack. You'd be like, yeah, all right, mate. Starting to get a bit obsessed with it. And once I lock my eyes or lock my mind on something, I want something, I always get it. What are my concerns about the build? Biggest one is time. Honestly, it's the time that it's gonna take to build this car. One thing I have a bad habit of doing, I don't mean to, I'm trying to get better with it, is I constantly underestimate the time that it takes to do something. Even when it's filming content, especially this, I've been told two things, both I think work, is someone said to me, take however long you think it's gonna take you and double it. I definitely agree with that. And the other one is the pi rule. So basically the way it was explained and the way I'll explain it to you is, let's just say you think something is gonna take 1 month. Well, the square root of pi is 3.14 whatever the fuck. So you take your 1 month and you times it by 3.14. So it's gonna take you 3 months, 1 week and 4 days, approximately. Track experience and track reliability. I've only had 2 successful track days since owning this car over the past 8 years. All the others after that were fucking disasters. But yeah, just make sure it's reliable. Obviously, race cars, things break, but I want to make this car as reliable as possible. And then track experience, just I guess track etiquette, but also just getting used to the car, getting used to the track, and just the more confidence that I can have in the car and in my ability to drive the car and execute it successfully around the racetrack, the better times I will get, and probably the more likely I am to go a lot harder, which is obviously important. What am I least looking forward to in this build? To be honest, painting the car. Yeah, priming it and getting it ready was an experience. And yeah, I'm not looking forward to painting the car. Just it's a whole logistical side of things. Because I want to do open door respray, like, you know, how am I supposed to paint this? It's like, is it base coat and is it clear coat? And then I've got to paint the inside of the doors and the outside, and part of me just goes, oh, I'll just pay someone, but no. It's not going to spend $14,000 on a respray, because number one, that 14 grand go towards some other development for the car. But also, I'm not going to spend 14 grand on a mint paint job. I'm not sure what this is, that one, there we go. On a mint paint job to then take it around a racetrack, you know, maybe get other cars, get stone chips, whatever. It's just, yeah, paint is not really important in my opinion when it comes to this. You know, they say all race cars, 10 out of 10 from 10 meters. So if we can go 10 out of 10 from 5 meters, you know what, even better. Closing points, I just want this car done, to be honest. I'm sick of it being unfinished. Everyone's like, oh, your car's not done, you can sell it, cut your losses, will it ever be done? Oh, Skyline this, Skyline that. Like, the naysayers, don't really bother me, to be honest. If anything, it's kind of like it. There was a stage where I was like, fuck man, I just want to go out and cruise, and I see everyone else, you know, driving their cars, taking photos, cool videos, hanging out with mates, going doing stuff, going to track events. I'm here with my car on jack stands doing nothing. But I'm almost to the point now where I know my time will come. I know I'll have the chance to kill it on the track and dominate. I know I'll get my chance to go out and hang out with mates. I know I'll get my chance to film awesome content for you guys and just the channel in general. Photos, videos, I know I'll get my chance to do that. And I know every single day it's getting closer and closer and closer. So I'm kind of, I'd say almost at peace that like my time will come. It's just part of the process and I've got to like learn to enjoy the journey. And also half the reason why I'm doing this, I want to give more things a crack, and through that I can learn more about cars, learn how to do things, but also in the process I want to be able to make content that you guys will enjoy, or maybe it might even give someone confidence to like, hey, if he can do it, I can do it too. And like, yes, you fucking can. The only thing that's limiting you is you. After this interview, I'm probably gonna open up these doors and start fitting panels and cracking straight in because I'm itching, I'm raring to go. So let's go build a time attack car. Are you ready?